Persistent.
Oh, you mean the SEO myths, the ones that just refuse to go away.
You got it. They pop up everywhere, don't they? Forums, chats, sometimes even, in client meetings here.
All the time.
Yeah.
Feels like we're constantly debunking the same old things again and again.
It really does. It reminds me of that line we joke about sometimes in the office here. In SEO, the biggest enemy isn't Google's algorithm.
It's the well-meaning expert at the water cooler who heard from their cousin's friend that keyword stuffing still works.
Yeah.
Another one.
Totally. You can just picture it, right? Someone, maybe even here at Gilmedia in 2025, seriously saying, we need 2.5% keyword density. Or, this blog post has to be 3,000 words.
It's like stepping into a time machine.
It really is. But the thing is, and this is what we see working with businesses at Gilmedia, it's not just funny.
No, not at all. Believing these myths, it can be properly damaging.
Right. We're talking wasted resources, budgets down the drain.
And potentially even hurting your actual rankings. It's serious stuff.
So that's kind of our mission today for this deep dive. We want to arm you, our listeners, with the real deal, what's actually working in SEO right now in 2025.
Based on the data we're seeing, the results we're getting for clients here, we need to unpack these myths. Why do they stick around?
And give you the actionable truth so you don't fall into those traps.
Yeah. And, to understand why they're so sticky, it helps to sort of categorize them. Experts often talk about 5 main types.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, you've got exaggerations. Things that are important but get blown way out of proportion. Like someone saying doing endless crunches is the only path to fitness.
Gotcha. Like focusing only on content volume and nothing else. Then there are simplifications.
Right, exactly. Where the truth gets stripped of all its nuance. The classic content is king line, but forgetting about, promotion, links, technical SEO, everything else.
Makes sense. What's next?
Misunderstandings. That's where good advice gets twisted or just applied wrongly, like taking the right medicine, but 10 times the dose.
Oosh. Okay.
And official mistakes. Sometimes even search engines put out confusing info or stuff gets misinterpreted. And finally, the outright fictions.
Like what?
The SEO equivalent of, flat earth theories. Just totally wrong ideas that somehow persist.
Okay, wow. So let's dive in and bust some. Where should we start? Maybe the big one. SEO is dead.
The classic zombie myth. Every time there's a big Google update or some new AI thing comes along.
Out come the headlines. SEO is finished.
But what we see consistently here at Gilmedia and just looking at the industry is that SEO hasn't died. It's just evolved massively.
It's like saying cooking is dead because air fryers exist now.
Exactly. The core idea, understanding your audience, providing value that's still totally essential. AI changes the how, maybe, but not the what or the why.
And it's hardly a dead industry financially, is it? What's the market worth now, globally?
Estimates put it around $200 billion for this year alone. That's quite a lot of money for a dead field.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
So why does this myth keep coming back?
I think people confuse change with obsolescence. When the tactics they used to rely on stop working so well, it's easier to say SEO is dead than to, learn the new game.
Adapt. Okay, next up. Another golden oldie we still hear about way too much. Keyword density is still a ranking factor.
Oh, man. This one feels like ancient history, doesn't it?
You'd think. But people still talk about hitting that magic 2-3% density.
Google stopped caring about specific density, over a decade ago? Matt Cutts was talking about this back in 2011.
Right. He was saying focus on natural language, make it useful.
Exactly. It's all about user experience now.
Yeah.
Relevance. Does the content actually help the user? Not how many times you crammed a word in.
And trying to force it now?
Yeah.
That can actually get you penalized, right? Keyword stuffing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So the advice we give our clients at Gilmedia: use keywords naturally, where they fit. Think about related terms, semantic variations, the actual language people use.
Focus on the user's intent, not just the words.
Precisely. That's the key.
Okay, moving on. Here's one that leads to some lengthy content. Longer content always ranks better.
Yes. The more words equals more rank fallacy.
We see people aiming for 1,500, 2,000 words minimum just because they heard it's better for SEO.
But the truth is, word count itself, it's not a direct ranking factor. Google doesn't just count words.
So why does longer content sometimes rank well?
Often, it's because it's more comprehensive. It covers the topic really thoroughly, provides more value, answers more potential questions. It's about the quality and completeness, not just the length.
Right. We see those studies showing a correlation. Top pages often have higher word counts.
Correlation isn't causation. We say that all the time here, right?
All the time. Just because top pages happen to be longer doesn't mean making your page longer will magically make it rank #1.
Exactly. So our advice, forget the word count target. Focus on being thorough. Answer the user's query completely. Sometimes that's 500 words, sometimes it's 5,000.
Let the topic and the user intent guide the length.
You got it.
Be valuable.
All right, one more classic myth for this round. Domain age gives you a ranking boost.
The idea that older websites just automatically get more Google love.
Yeah, because they've been around longer. They must be more trustworthy or something.
Nope. Google's been pretty clear on this too. John Mueller specifically said back in 2019, domain age helps nothing for rankings.
Which makes sense. A brand new site could have amazing content, fantastic UX.
And totally outperform some old, crusty site that hasn't been updated in years.
No.
The age itself isn't the magic ingredient.
So why does the myth stick around? Probably because older sites have had more time to build authority. Earn backlinks, publish content, build a reputation. It's those activities over time, not the ticking clock on the domain registration.
So the focus, like always, should be on building that authority through quality work.
Exactly. Whether your domain is 6 months old or 16 years old. That's what we focus on here at Gilmedia.
Okay, so those are some classics. But the game keeps changing, right? Especially with AI and new tech, we're seeing new myths pop up in 2025.
Definitely. The landscape shifts and new misunderstandings follow.
Let's tackle one of the biggest right now. AI content is automatically penalized.
Yeah, this causes a lot of anxiety. We hear from clients all the time.
But the reality is...
The reality, according to Google, is they care about the quality of the content, not necessarily how it was made. Is it helpful? Does it demonstrate EEAT?
Expertise, experience, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, that whole bundle.
Right. If AI helps you create content that ticks those boxes, that provides real value, then it can rank. Google isn't anti-AI content, it's anti-bad content.
So the key is using AI as a tool, not just hitting generate and publish.
Absolutely. That's the guidance we give. Use it to assist, to research, to draft.
Yeah.
But you need that human oversight, that quality control, the unique insights, the accuracy checks.
Makes sense. Okay, another newer one. Core Web Vitals are make-or-break ranking factors. People are really sweating those scores.
They are. And look, Core Web Vitals are ranking factors. They matter for user experience, but...
They're not the only thing.
Exactly. They're not the silver bullet some people make them out to be. Even folks at Google, like Martin Splitt, have kind of hinted they might be a bit overblown in the SEO community sometimes.
So a fast site is good, mobile-friendly is crucial, but they're part of a bigger picture.
Totally. Things like great content, strong, relevant backlinks, those still carry a lot of weight, maybe even more in many cases.
So optimize for Core Web Vitals, yes. But don't obsess over perfect scores if your content isn't hitting the mark.
Precisely. Get the technical foundations right, focus on CWV, but don't neglect the core pillars of quality content and authority. That's our approach at Gilmedia.
Got it. And one more in this newer batch. Bounce rate directly affects rankings.
Ah, the bounce rate panic. We see people worrying if their bounce rate is high, Google must think their page is terrible.
But Google says...
Google, specifically John Mueller again, has denied using analytics bounce rate directly in the ranking algorithm.
Because a high bounce rate isn't always bad.
Exactly.
Like,
think about it. If someone searches for, say, what's the capital of France, they land on a page, get the answer Paris, and leave.
That's a successful interaction, even if the bounce rate is 100%.
Right. The page did its job perfectly. So a high bounce rate can be totally normal, even good, depending on the page's purpose and the user's intent.
So instead of obsessing over bounce rate,
focus on metrics that actually reflect success for that page. Is it converting? Are users finding what they need? Is the content actually matching the search intent? Those are the questions we encourage clients to ask.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. SEO and web design are so intertwined now that must lead to some technical myths.
Oh, absolutely. Especially around newer technologies, like the idea that JavaScript kills SEO.
Right, the fear that if your site relies heavily on JavaScript, Google just won't be able to crawl or understand it properly.
It's an old fear, but it still lingers. But honestly, modern search engines, especially Google, have gotten really, really good at rendering JavaScript.
Didn't some studies look into this?
Yeah, Emerjay and Vercel did a good one showing that properly implemented JavaScript doesn't inherently hurt SEO. Often it can actually improve user experience if done well.
So the problem isn't JavaScript itself, it's how it's implemented.
Exactly. You need to make sure critical content is still accessible. Things like server-side rendering, SSR, or hybrid approaches can be really important. But the blanket idea that JS is bad for SEO, that's outdated.
Focus on speed, usability, make sure crawlers can see the important stuff.
You got it. That's the advice our dev teams and clients get.
What about lighthouse scores? Perfect lighthouse scores guarantee good rankings. That sounds plausible.
It does, right? Since Lighthouse is a Google tool. But nope.
No direct link.
Not direct. Lighthouse gives you lab data, simulated conditions. Google's ranking algorithm primarily looks at core Web Vitals field data.
Ah, the real user data from actual visitors.
Exactly. Real user monitoring, RUM data. Lighthouse is fantastic. As a diagnostic tool, it helps you find problems and improve things, but chasing a perfect 100 score won't automatically boost your rank.
So use Lighthouse to guide improvements, but focus on the real-world data in Search Console.
That's the smart way to use it. Improve the actual user experience, not just the lab score.
Okay, last technical one. Mobile-first indexing means desktop doesn't matter.
Ooh, that's a dangerous one.
Because Google uses the mobile version for indexing now, some people think, okay, forget desktop.
Yeah, and while mobile is primary for indexing, and most traffic is mobile, often over 60%.
You can't just ignore desktop users.
Absolutely not. For many businesses, especially B2B or those with complex products, desktop is still where a lot of conversions happen. A bad desktop experience will absolutely hurt your business, even if it doesn't directly impact the initial indexing.
So responsive design is still key. Great experience everywhere.
Totally. Prioritize mobile, make sure it's flawless, but ensure the desktop experience is still excellent, functional, and helps users achieve their goals. It's about the whole journey.
Makes perfect sense. Let's talk content and social media now. Big myth here. Social signals directly impact rankings.
Yeah, the idea that likes, shares, tweets somehow feed directly into Google's algorithm.
It feels like it should, maybe, but it doesn't.
According to Google, no. They've been consistent on this. Social signals themselves aren't a direct ranking factor.
So why is social media still important for SEO then? Because it clearly is.
It's about the indirect benefits. Visibility, brand awareness, driving traffic to your content.
Which might lead to people linking to it or mentioning it.
Exactly. Great social engagement can amplify your content, get it in front of people who might then link to it naturally or talk about it elsewhere online. Those are things Google notices. But the like count itself, not so much.
Use social to amplify and distribute, not as a direct ranking lever.
Precisely.
Okay, and the other big content-related one, all backlinks are created equal. Just get as many as possible.
Oh gosh, no. If only. This is one where quality absolutely demolishes quantity.
We talk about this constantly at Gilmedia, right?
Constantly.
Yeah.
One single amazing relevant link from a highly trusted authoritative site in your niche. That's worth way, way more than hundreds, maybe thousands, of dodgy, low-quality links.
And those low-quality ones can actually hurt you now.
Definitely. Google's spam updates get smarter all the time. Building or buying loads of irrelevant links is a recipe for trouble. It can actively harm your site's reputation and rankings.
So the focus has to be on earning high-quality, relevant links, natural links.
Earned links, that's the gold standard. Think relevance, authority, and genuine editorial value.
Okay, let's shift to business strategy myths. We often see this one. SEO is a one-time setup. Optimize it once, then you're done.
Huh. If only business worked like that.
Right. Imagine doing marketing once and calling it a day.
SEO in 2025 is absolutely an ongoing process. Google's algorithms change constantly. Your competitors are always making moves. User behavior shifts. You can't just set it and forget it.
It's like gardening, maybe. You have to keep weeding, watering, adjusting.
Good analogy. It needs continuous monitoring, regular audits, ongoing tweaks and improvements, just to maintain performance, let alone grow. Winning and keeping rankings is a marathon, not a sprint.
Treat it as an ongoing business function. Okay, another one. Paying for Google Ads improves organic ranking.
The old pay-to-play and organic myth.
People think if they spend money on ads, Google will give their organic results a little boost.
It's a common thought, but nope. Google keeps the organic and paid algorithms very separate. Spending on ads doesn't directly influence your organic rank.
Why do they keep them separate?
To maintain the integrity of the organic results, presumably. They want organic results to be based on relevance and quality, not ad spend.
But ads can still help SEO indirectly.
Sure. Paid campaigns give you great data on keywords, what messages resonate, user behavior. You can definitely use those insights to inform your organic strategy. They work well together as complementary channels.
Just not a direct ranking connection. Got it. And how about the Google Sandbox for new websites?
The idea that new sites get put in a penalty box for a while?
Yeah, like Google deliberately holds them back initially.
Google has officially said there's no such thing as a sandbox.
So why does it sometimes feel like that for new sites?
It just takes time for Google to crawl, index, and understand a brand new site. Figure out what it's about, assess its quality, see how users interact with it. It's not a penalty. It's just the natural process of discovery and evaluation.
So new sites just need patience and good content from day one.
Exactly. Focus on quality. Build authority steadily. Give Google time to find and trust you. That's the real path, not waiting out some mythical sandbox period.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. With all these myths floating around, how can people listening spot them? What are the red flags?
Good question. Be really wary of anyone promising guarantees, like hashtag one rankings guaranteed, especially quickly.
Nobody can guarantee that, right?
Nobody. Also, watch out for talk of secrets or loopholes. Real SEO is hard work, not magic tricks. Be skeptical of one-size-fits-all advice, too. What works for e-commerce might not work for a local plumber.
And check the source, right? Is it outdated? Is there any actual evidence?
Crucial. If someone's citing advice from 2015, it's probably irrelevant now. Look for data, case studies, or references to official Google statements.
What questions should you ask yourself when you hear some new SEO trick?
Ask, how does this actually help the user? Does it align with Google's goal of providing good results? Is there official documentation backing this up? Has it been tested? Does the source seem credible and current? Just be critical.
And where should people go for reliable info?
Stick to the source. Google Search Central blog is essential. Follow reputable figures like John Mueller on social media. Read established publications, Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal, Moz blog. And look at data-driven studies from companies like Ahrefs, SEMrush, BrightEdge. Industry conferences can also be good if you vet the speakers.
It's interesting how these myths can actually mess up web design, too.
Oh, big time. Design and SEO decisions based on myths can lead to really poor user experiences.
Like what? Give us an example.
Okay, design myth #1. More pages always mean better SEO. People hear this and start creating tons of thin, low-value pages just to increase the page count.
Which leads to?
A cluttered site, bad navigation, maybe even duplicate content issues. It dilutes authority and frustrates users. Much better to have fewer, comprehensive, high-value pages.
Makes sense. What's another design trap?
Design myth #2. Keyword-rich URLs are essential. This leads to those super long, ugly URLs stuffed with keywords.
Yeah, the ones that are impossible to read or share.
Exactly. Clean, descriptive URLs are better. Include keywords naturally if it makes sense, but don't overdo it. User-friendliness matters more than stuffing keywords there.
And design myth #3. Pop-ups always hurt SEO.
This makes people scared to use any pop-ups, even potentially helpful ones like for email sign-ups or important notices.
But Google only penalizes certain kinds, right?
Right. They target intrusive interstitials, especially on mobile, that block the main content. Well-designed, non-annoying pop-ups that offer value are generally fine. Use them strategically, not indiscriminately.
Okay, so we've busted a ton of myths. Let's refocus. What really matters for ranking well in 2025? What are the pillars?
It boils down to a few core things. First, content quality and relevance. Is it comprehensive, original, clear, targeting the right intent, using language naturally?
Okay, content first. What else?
Technical excellence. Is the site fast, mobile-friendly, easy to crawl, good architecture, secure with HTTPS, clean code, all that foundational stuff.
Technical health. Got it.
Third, user experience signals. Is navigation intuitive? Does the site satisfy users? Is it accessible? Engaging. Clear calls to action. Does it feel good to use?
User satisfaction. Makes sense.
Fourth, authority and trust. This is about quality backlinks, consistent business info, NAP, positive reviews, demonstrating expertise, EEAT again, brand mentions, signals that you're credible.
Building that reputation. And finally,
freshness and maintenance. Keeping content updated, ensuring information is current, actively maintaining the site, fixing broken links, ongoing optimization. It shows Google the site is alive and cared for.
So quality content, solid tech, happy users, strong authority, and ongoing care. Those are the keys.
Pretty much sums up a solid myth-resistant strategy.
So how do you build that myth-resistant strategy? What are the core principles?
Number one, focus on users first. Always.
Yeah.
Every decision, Ask how it helps the user.
User centricity. Okay.
Number 2, test everything. Don't just assume something works because someone said so. Test it on your own site. Measure the results.
Data-driven decisions.
Exactly. 3, stay updated. Follow reliable sources. Understand algorithm changes. Know what's happening.
Continuous learning.
4, think long-term. Avoid risky shortcuts. Build sustainable assets. SEO is a marathon.
Patience and persistence.
And 5, measure what matters. Track metrics tied to your actual business goals. Organic traffic, yes, but also conversions, revenue, user satisfaction, not just vanity metrics.
Focus on the outcomes. Great principles. And let's just underscore the cost of not doing this, of believing the myths.
It's significant. You waste time, money, maybe agency fees on stuff that doesn't work.
Oh.
That's wasted resources.
Opportunity cost too, right? Time spent on myths is time not spent on real work.
Exactly. Then there's damaged performance. You could face penalties, create a bad user experience that tanks conversions, lose ground to competitors who are doing it right.
And it throws off your whole plan.
Yeah, strategic misalignment. You end up chasing ghosts, allocating budget wrongly, setting unrealistic expectations based on false promises.
Yeah.
It undermines the whole marketing effort.
So as we wrap up, what's the right mindset for navigating SEO now and in the future? How do we stay future-proof?
First, embrace change. SEO will keep evolving. Accept it. Adapt to it.
Be flexible.
Second, question fundamental. Develop healthy skepticism. Seek evidence. Test claims. Don't just take things at face value.
Critical thinking.
Third, focus on fundamentals. Those core pillars we talked about, value, trust, technical health, they rarely go out of style. Stick to them.
The basics endure.
And finally, think like Google. What are they trying to achieve? Delivering the best, most helpful results. Align your strategy with that goal. If you help users well, Google will likely reward you eventually.
That's powerful. So the big takeaway, knowing these myths helps you ignore the noise and focus on what works.
Absolutely. Especially now with AI shaking things up, sticking to fact-based, user-centric strategies is more crucial than ever.
Be critical, rely on evidence, focus on value.
Couldn't say it better. Don't get lured by myths promising easy wins. They usually don't exist.
It reminds me of that Stephen Hawking quote. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it is the illusion of knowledge.
That fits perfectly. These myths create that illusion, making people think they know the secret, when really they're just following bad advice.
So stick to the facts, test relentlessly, and always, always prioritize creating real value for your audience. That's the sustainable path.
That's the future-proof approach. Put users first, ground your strategy in reality, adapt to change, but never forget those core principles. Everything else, it's probably just noise. Or another myth waiting to lead you down the wrong path.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Online Marketing Tips, Tricks, and Secrets from Gilmedia. This is episode 20.
Great to be back.
So if you were with us last time, you'll know we were looking pretty far ahead, right? Talking about the future of SEO.
Yeah, the crystal ball stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fun, but maybe a bit out there for some.
Exactly. So today, we're kind of hitting pause on the predictions. We're tackling something much more, well, present.